basically out of the back, I look for this position. Shoulders level, left leg in the middle of the, or left arm in the middle of the sector, right leg out the back of the ring and balance. You know, basically you want to balance on the left toe like this. Shot, this, shot, this. I'll show you a shot putter here. Slightly different position, but pretty much the same. Okay. See how shoulders level, chest is up, balance over the left foot. Right leg out the back, left leg in the sector. We're trying to achieve that position on extreme balance because in order to get into the middle and create the power position in our throwing axis, we have to execute the turn out of the back correctly. If we miss that, we're falling through the ring and not throwing it. We're just kind of selling it. So we work on this in a step-by-step progression. I call it the 360 progression, or 360 series. I'll show you these guys here. But how we initiate this is, get like we're in the back of the ring, discus or shot. And the first thing I have them do is, so load the left. Push the knee over the left toe and push the left hip over that. And basically that puts my left shoulder over my left toe. And you want to think as your left side is like the hinges of a door or an axis. You want to think about a rod getting driven through your shoulder into your left toe, and we're going to pivot around that pull. You know, and you'll see that here. So especially the guy on the left is his first day doing it. The guy on the right, you'll see it looks like there's a pull from his left shoulder through his left knee into his left toe. And the first one we do, we're just going to walk around. Now the other thing is we're not going to pull. We don't want to pull. We don't want to pull around the left side. We want to kind of skate off the right or push ourselves around with our right foot. We're not trying to do this because that gets us off balance. We have to keep this axis, so we're just going to try to, what I call a walk around. Then I'll show you the next pieces of it. But watch the guy in black especially. He's just pushing himself around that left leg. Now 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. 90, 180, 180, 360, then 540. See that one right there? See how that left side was like a rigid pull and he was just spinning around it? Because we got to drive off that left side, and if we don't maintain that strong left side axis out of the back, it's going to make the next part we're trying to do hard. So walk around. Now, we'll go back here. And this is basically how the commands I give is just walk around. And I'll say 90, 90, 90, 90, 180, 180, 360, 540. Now generally we do more than just one of each. But that's how but the key is balance over the left big toe the whole time, maintaining that axis. So now that they've kind of established balance over the left side, we're going to go to how we get into the middle and basically how we create the power position and the throwing axis. Okay, right there, that's the position we talked about. Basically 90-degree turn to here. Balance. I'm ready to do something right now. I'm in this position. Shoulders are level. The body's axis is pretty much vertical. See that? There's no separation right now, and his axis is vertical. We want to tilt the axis so we can throw up. A vertical axis we throw perfectly flat. So, two things have to happen. He has to sweep his right leg ahead of the shoulders and drive off his left. Push his hips, ahead of his upper body. And you'll see that happen right here. See how that right leg is just overtaking the shoulders? See how all of a sudden he has some separation created. He's just swept his hips ahead. And as he's sweeping that right leg ahead, you'll see him drive or skip off his left, which will as he does that, they're kind of happening at the same time. You'll see his hips go ahead of the shoulders right now. And that right leg will continue to sweep, and the left leg will push. See how now his hips have overtaken his shoulders rotationally as well as linearly. So now he has an axis. And see how his hips are kind of here and his shoulders are kind of here? He's created separation. And what happens when the right foot hits in the middle? That's where we pick up with the 180 or wheel turn drill, okay? But one thing, so now we're back to that dropped in 180 and the 180 drill. Now watch, he's created an axis of rotation and separation. And now that he's done that out of the back, you'll see him back pivot or 180 into the power position. So there's the power position. But he's also now, his throwing axis is established. But that axis was created out of the back, not now. And now watch, I'm going to hit play. And see how can you still see that faint line? It's pretty much parallel to the throwing axis. The axis in the middle is the throwing axis basic. Can you see how they're the same? That axis was created driving into the middle. Then he throws about the axis, see that? But by creating that throwing axis, it allows him to throw up. Okay, so how do we do that? We do that, we've got the front covered, the 180s and the back pivot into the power position covered, from right foot touchdown into the front. And hopefully with the 360s, we've learned how to balance. Now we have to figure out how to sweep the right leg ahead and skip or drive off the left. So we break that down, and I have 3 drills that break that down. The first drill is an upside down video, forgive me. But we're working right here, holding the chest to the camera, the nurse takes the left, and sweeping the right leg up and ahead into the wall. Remember how we saw this position and saw his right leg overtake his shoulders? That's all we're working right there. And we try to kick the wall with the inside of our left foot. So basically it's a 90-degree 360 drill with the right leg sweep into the wall. So, and now I've started to create the separation. So that's kind of a drill to work that right leg sweep. Now we do a South African drill that helps us work on the left leg drive or skip. So we're still trying to get that right leg sweep, but right now the sweep is less important than we're really just trying to focus on that drive. Drive our hips ahead of the shoulders. Drive our hips ahead of the shoulders and sweep the right into the power position. And we could add another pivot to this drill as well. But so we got the right leg part of the drive out of the back, or the sweep out of the back, and now we got the left leg. Now the last drill, we call it just a straight wall drill. And this wall drill is to work the drive and sweep together. Because we want to kind of sweep the right leg ahead of the chest, and as that right leg's sweeping and creating separation, we want to skip or drive off the left to create that axis or drive our hips ahead. And can you see that happening on this discus throw here? So there's a balance position we talked about in the 360. Now watch that right leg overtake. See that right leg? That's the right leg sweep to the wall drill. Now you'll see how the hips are actually behind the shoulders. See how his chest is here, but his butt's a little bit back. He started to drive off his left, and now you'll see those hips go from a little behind his shoulders. You'll see the right leg finish, and the hips drive underneath and ahead. See that right there? Ahead of the shoulder axis. And that's the South African drill. This last drill and also see how, as he leaves the back, see how his chest is facing the sector? Remember that for this next drill here, which I call the wall drill. So it's basically a 360-90 drill into a right leg sweep, South African curl. So basically what you're trying to do is sweep the right leg ahead towards the wall, and as the right leg touches down at the wall, we want to pull the knees together. Remember the 180 drill, pull the knees together and kick the left into the wall. Now those guys are a little bit forward. I'd like them to keep their arms out so they have a better throwing axis. I'll show you how I would ask them to do it. But see how the right and left hit the wall together? So what I would like them to see how they're like this? I'd like to see them like this. But see how I'm back? I created that axis I showed you on the discus throw. I created separation. And basically, if you can do the wall drill right, and you can 180 and do a good double pivot, you just put the whole throw together. I showed you this guy. Showed you the same thing on the shot guy. Starts a little bent over, but he establishes. See that balanced position? Left arm in the sector, right leg out the back. Good vertical axis. See the right leg sweeping and overtaking the upper body. And as that's happening, the left leg starting to work as well. So there again, see that right leg getting ahead of the shot put? That's good. And now see as the left leg finishes, you'll see the hips shoot ahead of the shoulders here and create an axis. See the hips shooting ahead? He's created the axis and he's created separation. Now it's just a 180 or back pivot into the power position. There's that half turn into the power position. There again, the axis into the middle is the same as the axis in the power position. And then the axis that's been created is the axis you're going to throw around. See how it all comes together? Now, we also do drills here where we do spins into a double pivot, pause, up. We'll do drills, no pause, just spin right into a double pivot. And I'll get mean a little bit with my athletes. I'll do this at glide. Can't do this as much. But I'll say, just getting back to the ring, and I'll just say 180, 90, 90, 90, South African. 180 go. 180 go. Up. I'll just throw different stuff at them. I'll try to keep them guessing. And here's the reason I like to do that is